It's a really quick game. It's like 10, 15 minutes, something like that. But we're going to have to do a few minor tweaks to get it to scale to infinite number of players. So in Qwixx, in our sheet here, okay, we're going to be marking numbers going from left to right. You can see there are colored dice that will match the colors of the rows. Each round, the dice are going to be rolled. Okay, so we just go ahead and roll the dice each round. Boom. Okay. Right away, what happens is the two white dice are summed together, so that's an 11. Everyone, every turn of the game, can write an 11 in any of the rows. Okay. Now, if it is already marked, you can't write it there, and if you've already marked beyond it, you can't write it. You can't write the 11. But everyone has the option to do that. You do not have to mark the 11. You may mark the 11. Okay. You'll notice too on the rows, some of them go increment upwards, and some of them increment downwards. You always have to mark right to left to right. Left to right, and very important here. So if I would mark an 11 in the red row, that would be eating up a lot of my real estate right away. It's a terrible move because as soon as I mark that 11, I cannot mark anything to the left of it. All right. Same thing with yellow, but with the green and the blue, you'll notice those are decrementing downwards. And so if I mark an 11, that's actually a pretty solid mark. Okay. Now the active player then, who is in the game, the player who rolls the dice. But what we're going to say here is the active player. I'm going to be active on even turns, and everyone else is going to be active on odd turns. Okay, so we're all going to be active or inactive 50% of the time. Okay, active player chooses then may choose one of the colored dice and add it with one of the white dice. Okay. Then make that mark in the colored row. So for example, everyone can mark the 11, okay? Then after that, the active player, who on an even round will be me, could or may mark a 7 of blue, which is pretty terrible right now. May mark I guess a 6 or a 7 would be fine. A 10 or an 11 of green, right here. Could mark a 10 or an 11 of yellow. Could mark a 11 or 12 of red. Now, I'm going to talk about those 12s and the 2s. Those are special. Okay. Now, in this game, you score points by marking the most number, by marking more numbers in a row. And so at the end of the game, if I have like five numbers marked off in the row, that would give me 15 points for the row. So I would score 15 points, let's say on green, and you would add up points for each row. Okay. If you ever cannot make a mark and you are the active player, then you must make a penalty stroke. Okay. Penalties are going to be 4 of them. They're -5 points each. The game ends when either somebody fills the penalties or 2 of these rows are locked. Now, how do you lock a row? That's a great question. If you ever mark, it says at least 5 in that row, then you are eligible to mark the 12 of the row, or in the green and blue, the 2 of the row. When you mark that means it's going to actually remove that die from the game for the rest of the game. Nobody can mark a red anymore as soon as that red is locked. The player that locks it, and multiple players can lock it at once, that's fine. Doesn't affect anything. The player that locks it, okay, is going to mark off the 12, let's say, and the lock. So it actually counts for 2 marks. So you're incentivized to end the game and lock the dice. If at some point things really clog up and you can't make any marks, the game will end based on the penalty strokes. Okay. Now I haven't really thought too much about how we're going to end this game, because I think that even an odd turn sequence is going to be just fine. But how do we end the game? I think if you're playing, chime in on Discord if you've locked 2 dice, or if you lock a die, and I will obey that. And of course, you'll be able to see mine if you're playing. If not, then I will just be the one that ends it. So if no one's playing along, for example, for this practice run, then I will inevitably be the one that locks it. But you could still play along and try to beat me with the score against what I did. Okay. So that's how that's going to work. let's see. Maybe just a quick open time for any questions. Any questions on the other end? Grab a drink. I'll post videos of this afterwards too, so people can play at their own pace, because I realize that not everyone's able to log on at 8 p.m. Central on a Monday night, but should be able to find 10, 20, 30 minutes within their week to actually go through and play it live on a video or on a recording, and then compare scores at the end. Okay. So I don't see any questions pop, which makes sense because it's a very simple game. No. And we're just going to get this thing going and start. So I'm going to use a pen because pens are, I'm committing to the number, right? So I can't ever go backwards. I can't erase it. So we're going to do that. All right. So we're on play. We're on turn 0. So I'm going to be the active player. Okay. All right. Active player will be the one that announces the 2 white dice come together. So we have an 11. Okay. So anyone can mark an 11 on any of the rows, provided it's a legal mark. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and mark the green. Okay. And then, as the active player, I now may choose one of the color dice, add it to one of the white dice, and make another mark. Now, if you are not the active player, you are not making a second mark. You don't even actually have to make that first mark as the non-active player, but you cannot make a second mark. Now, the active player may make a second mark. If the active player can't make or chooses not to make any marks altogether, then they take a penalty stroke. Just remember that, which is over here. Okay, so I like that green 10 because it's starting to now give me some solid green synergies going on. So 1, 2, get a little push forward on green, which is a lot of fun, and maybe push people into making bad decisions later because I'm pushing quickly on green. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and increment that turn counter and play some music because that's fun. Okay. So this is going to be the audience as the active player. Okay, so 4 is the number. So you may mark 4 in any of your rows. Well, it doesn't make sense in the blue or the green row yet. But maybe in the future. Right now, I think 4 is a little bit of a big push right now, but I'm okay doing that. Also because it kind of shows that, showing an example, right? Now, as the active player, the audience may add one of those color dice with one of the white dice. Now, there's only 2 that you can choose for your white die to add it with. So you have less options this time, but you have some pretty good, actually it's pretty horrible options out there. So you could mark a 6 of red, like if you would do a 4, a 2 and a 2 would give you a 4 of red, and then you could parlay that into a 6 of red. Like that's okay, but I probably would just hang tight with a 4 to be honest. But I'm gonna let you play how you want to play. All right. Next turn, everybody. We got dogs in the background, wagging tails. So 7 is the number. 7 is a number. Okay, I don't mind this. So I'm gonna avoid. I'm not going to take the 7 as the active player on the even, but I am going to take the 5 of yellow. All right, feeling pretty good about that. Okay, I'm kind of slow playing this one a little bit, as you can tell. You can push faster or slower. It really depends on your play style, And audience is the active. Great roll, audience. Looks like 3 is the number. I'm definitely gonna mark the 3 of red. And then, of course, we got some options out there. This game starts to differentiate what is meaningful to you versus someone else's board pretty quickly. Even like 4 turns in, it's tough for me to remember what is the best thing to mark right now or what. But I could read through the options to help it out since it's still kind of a practice game. We got, you could do a 4 green, that's horrible. You could do 3 green, that's horrible. You could do 5 of yellow. 6 of yellow. 6 yellow might be good for someone. 8 of red. 8 of blue. 7 of red. 7 of blue. Those would be the options. Alright, next turn. So, back to me. Active player. I'm the roller. Roll it up. Really comes down to how much you're going to push your luck, and then also these rolls, they start to make a difference as your board fills up, right? So 4 is the number. Anyone can go ahead and mark a 4, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right on. And I may make an additional mark. And I see a 6 of red there. I see a 7 of yellow. A 9 of yellow. 8 of red. That's kind of where my mind is focused right now, but I don't mind. Yeah, that's probably what I do. 6 or 7. I think. Okay, so here's a little. We'll talk about this as strategy, but marking the 6 versus marking the 7, I think is actually a really big different decision. I'm going to go for the 7 yellow here and push forward on yellow. Although they would both net 3 marks into each row, red or yellow. I think it's actually a very interesting thing to kind of unpack later. We'll talk about that later. All right, audience. Six is the number. Well, I am going to take that. I don't have to, but I'm going to. Just kind of pushing, you know. Get some points. Don't really know how well you guys are doing or not. I know how well or poorly I'm doing. Now, as the active player of the audience, again, sum one of the colored dice with one of the white dice. All good? All right. Back to me. Give me those dice. We got 9 as the active, okay, or as the number for anyone. So 9 looks really good on green for me. So I'll take that. And I can also take an 8 on blue. No, I could take a 9 on green. So I've already taken the 9 on green. So I don't have to take 2 as the active player. Remember, I only really only need to take 1, otherwise get a penalty. But then I see an 8 on red looks okay. I can't take any of the yellow. 8 on red looks okay. 10 on green, 9 on green, 8 on blue, 7 on blue. I'm gonna go with 8 on red. Alright. Your turn. Seven is the active. 7 is the white dice. I'm not going to take that. I think green is netting up to me my points area, so I might pass on this one. Remember, as the non-active player, you don't have to take the white dice. All right. Hopefully you got your decisions locked in. Going to go ahead and roll it up. Back to me. Eight. I'm liking 8. Look at that green. Yellow would be pretty good too, but yeah. I haven't touched blue. Blue actually would have been a good thing to start here with an 11. But there's a lot more points for me. But then as the color dice as the active player, that's actually a really nice roll for me. I'm thinking about that 11. I'm also thinking about that green 7. I think I'm going to go green 7 and just start to rack up some green points. Like, I already can lock that out. If a 12 is rolled on the whites, I can lock... Or sorry, if a 2 is rolled on the whites, I can lock out the green. Or if I roll a 1 green and a 1 white, then I can lock out the green. So I could push this game to the end pretty quick here. Utilizing this, this approach of kind of like just leaving the blue alone. Someone else might be doing fine on blue. I don't know. All right, over to you. Your turn. Six. For sure. Look at that. Doesn't always go this well. So you are the active player. You have the option now to mark that 6, and have the option to mark a colored plus a white. Awesome. Back to me. Seven. Oh, I don't like that at all. Hopefully we're going to do okay here. Can't touch the green. Can touch the yellow 8. So I'm not going to mark the 7, the white dice, but I am going to choose to do the yellow 8 here. Alright, your turn. Boom. 7 again, the most rolled number. And it's your turn. I'm not touching that. It's trash. Hot trash. For me, maybe not for you. I think it's good for you. Alright. Lock it in. Looks like we kind of have a crooked die over here. I'm going to straighten that out. I'll try to catch that quicker in the future. So that red is the 5. Alright. Back to me. Seven again. That's 3 in a row. That is a triple sevens. Very lucky number, I think. But not so good for my board. I can take a 3 of green though. That seems pretty good. Otherwise, the 11 of blue seems pretty good. But the 3 of green is like less points. Points for me. Although it doesn't really help me like block it out. So. Maybe I do start with the blues. Like, there's a great strategic thing to talk about here, right? That marking in blue is going to be 1 point for me. Marking in green is going to be, what, 6 to 7, which is a crap ton. I'm going to do green. This is fine. Alright. Turn. Your turn. 7 again, that's 4. Wonder bar. You got some decisions here. I mean, if you pushed red, you almost were able to lock out the reds here. That could have been huge. But didn't happen. If you were pushing blue, again, almost could have locked out the blues, but not quite. White dice got to roll a 6 or a 1 for in-game stuff to be pretty interesting. Alright, back to me. There's that blue too, but it's my turn. Yours. Okay, 3 is the number. Not really gonna help me there. Oh, this is garbage. This is really garbage now. Okay, I might actually take a penalty here. So I can't mark a red. I cannot mark a yellow. I cannot mark a blue, and I cannot mark a green. I actually took a penalty right there. How about that? And again, if you ever take 4 penalties, you'll lose. So don't do that. Or sorry, you don't lose, but the game's over. But you can probably lose. You never know. Your turn. 9 is the number. 9, it works fine for me. I'm going to take red because I think someone could, someone could lock red right here. So, see that white audience could lock red right here. White 6 and the red 6 could be a way to lock that die. If you have 5 or more, or at least 5 marks in that red row. Red row. Okay. Everyone good? Back to me. Oh, not another roll like this. Killing me, man. That's just utter trash. So 3 is the number. I can take a 3 in blue, but it really hurts. There's a little controversy in this part of the game. I've been taught this game a few different ways. The way the rule book actually is written, you may you don't have to make a marking entry. You can choose that penalty stroke. But I've also been taught in a way that you must make the mark, and it can hose you at times, which can be painful. So in this case, I probably would actually go for a penalty stroke here. I think it's pretty detrimental to take that blue 3 at this point in the game, just because of how kind of waiting for things to lock up. Now, as like kind of a 1-player game right now, or a 2-player game, less people in the game, less likely things are going to lock up. If you have a load of players in the game, more likely that less people in the game, more likely that things could lock up at the end. Less players, more players in the game. Can't talk. More players in the game, more likely someone is going to finish it out at some point, just because like people take different routes to victory. I can't mark green. I can't mark red. Can't mark yellow. I can mark the blue, but I'm gonna go ahead and take my penalty. Alright, I'm not too happy about that. 9. Well, 9's good. Just wish it happened on my turn. I think if you really want to unpack this, like strategy-wise, you'd probably get into a conversation about odds. Like, I think there's like a little bit of almost like a gambling, poker odds type assessment you could put on this, and really say, is it worth it to me to take that or not, based on, assessing what other people are doing at the table, but also what does it leave you on your your scorecard? How much do you think you need to win this game? That kind of thing. Back to me. Hope you chose wisely. Five. So garbage. I'm really in trouble here. I'm like bullheaded and resistant, and it's kicking me in the butt right now. So I can't take yellow, I can't take red. I can take a blue 4, I can take a blue 3, which are horrible again. I cannot take a green right now. So I'm going to take another penalty and just hope that I can ride the wave until the end, or maybe got enough points to force the victory, maybe, who knows. Over to you, your turn. 8 is the number. I am kind of okay with 8 on the blue. I don't know. I just feel like it's coming to an end here with all these penalties, so I might as well get some points. What could you do, though? You could... nothing that can be potentially locked out except if you were starting the blue, like you were an idiot like me and just didn't mark anything in it, then you could mark 12 there. You'd be okay. But you probably played in the blue. Alright. Hopefully you made a good decision. Back to me. Seven. So a 7 now gives me at least something I can mark. Feel okay about it. And I can do a 10 yellow too. 10 yellow seems pretty good. All right, over to you. Five. I'm gonna go ahead and take that 5. I just think we're nearing the end game based on my sheet anyway. I take a penalty, it's over. What could you do though? You could finish out a blue at this point. You could lock a blue. If you're playing along, you locked a blue. Let me know. This is a practice run, so we'll get the globe here soon. I found that, especially with like quick and simple games like this, playing a game once and then playing it a second time is really helpful to people to learn it, but then also kind of formulate their own strategies for use in the second game. So hope you decided wisely. Back to me. This could be the end. Yeah. 4. I can make a 4. I can also make a 3 of blue. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hit the 4 and then hit the 3. Important thing about ordering here in the rules. So you always are taking that. You're always deciding on the white die first, the sum of the white dice. And then independently deciding on the sum of 1 colored and 1 white as the active player. So even I'm active, odd you're active. And in that order it matters because otherwise you could like rearrange things and cheat the system. So gotta obey the rules. Right on. Your turn. We're gonna roll. Sweet. 5. I'm not touching that. Can't touch that. I'm about to take another penalty though. So at this point, a blue 2 could have been closed. Not by me. Actually, yeah, I could have closed the blue 2 if it were my turn. Dang it. All right, hope you chose wisely. Be good to get some feedback too if this is going too fast for people, if I should put another 30 seconds in, if it's going too slow, speed the game up a little bit more. Cool thing is like, you know, you're able to focus on the game and not too many distractions happening at once. If you have to step away, I think one thing I want to try to do is start uploading like images that show each turn. So maybe that turn counter also takes an image and pastes it into the Discord. So you could go back and trace the game if you had to step away for a second, or grab a beverage, or have a screaming child you need to attend to, or a dog that needs to be let out. I certainly have the dog problem. They're always going in and out. Okay, so I think I rolled, right? I did. Yes, back to me. 5 is the number, and it looks unlikely that I'm going to be able to mark anything here. Can't mark a red, can't mark a green, can't mark a yellow, can't mark a blue. Alright, so that is going to be the end of this game. We're going to add up the score to show you how that works. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, nobody, well, on my sheet, I didn't mark off any of the, didn't close off any of the dice. Reminder, dice are closed and they are removed from the game. Nobody else can mark those in the future because the dice is not rolled. And if you mark off the 12, for example, you also mark the lock and you count each of them as a mark towards your scoring. So that didn't happen, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is going to be 15 points. All right. 2, 6. It's going to be 21. 7. 28. Ended up with 5. That's pretty good. Alright, minus 20. How about that? 30. 51. 60. 79. Minus 20. 59. It's not my best game by any means, but it's a score. And I bet I probably got bottom bucket there. Okay. And if not, that's okay. Learning game. We're gonna give a. I'm gonna give a quick overview, a check-in on the stream quality, see how things are going. Then a quick overview on this kind of the strategy of Qwixx, what I think are kind of some interesting strategic decisions, how I like to play, and then we're gonna play again for realsies. All right. Winner gets their name on the global game night map. Pinned on your location. Okay, this is gonna be a map of the globe, a map of the world, and you have 1 week to submit your results. Okay, so this video is gonna go live. You're gonna have 1 week to submit your result. So if you see it, play the game within a week, and then send me a result if you think for sure if you beat me, but also if you think you got in like top 10%. If you think you did pretty well. I want to see your score. See your score pick. I'll audit it too, maybe. Let's see. I'm a pretty trusting guy, but you know, when there's something as important as the global game night at stake, we might need to hire IRS level auditors here. I'm sure they're good, right? I've been audited before.